Good morning students, welcome back to the e-learning platform of the GS College of Commerce, Wardha. Today I am going to start the topic that is deflation. If you will remember, as I told you earlier, that in the second unit of monetary economics you have the two chapters, that is inflation and deflation. In the earlier videos we have completed the inflation. Now we are going to start today deflation. If you remember inflation, what is inflation? Inflation is the phenomena of increase in the general price level. In that situation, the prices of the goods and services normally increase. And if you talk about deflation, deflation is just the opposite of inflation. If we will call it in simple terms, it's the phenomena of decrease in the general price level. Why so it happens? What are the causes of decrease in the general price level? Basically, see, when the people buys less goods and services, or to which we can say when the people's demand decrease, as a result of that, the effective demand of the goods and services also decline, and we find the goods and services price decrease. So why so the people's demand decrease? What are the reasons for this? If we will focus, when the people's money income decline or the unemployment level prevail, so what happens as a result of that? The people normally buy the less goods and service. So as a result of that, what is there? We find that in the market, the general price level start declining. So what is the definition of the deflation? What the different economists says about the deflation? Deflation is a state of disequilibrium in which a contraction of purchasing power tends to cause or is the effect of declining the price level. What this definition focus on the contraction of the purchasing power. Contraction of the purchasing power of an individual is declining. Why so it's declining? Because it may be possible that he may have the unemployment. He may not have the proper level of employment, or his money income has declined. So as a result of that, the purchasing power of an individual is declining, and it causes the decline in the demand of the goods and service, and that's why you are finding it's a cause or is the effect of the decline in the price level. As a result, we find the price level is declining because of the purchasing power of the individual is contracting or declining. Similarly, what the PQ says, that deflation is a state of falling prices. Again here, the people focus, what is deflation? The deflation is developing, or deflation is a situation of falling price. Why so it occurs? It occurs at that time when the output of goods and services move rapidly. What he says? He says that the goods and services output is more as compared to its demand rapidly than the volume of the money income in the economy. See, the money income of the people has declined and the goods and services output is more. As a result of that, again the disequilibrium is developing, and that disequilibrium is referred as deflation. And what is actually happening in this disequilibrium? In this disequilibrium, we are finding the price levels are falling. Technically, what is the situation? Some people also say that when the rate of inflation becomes negative, then the deflation develops. Now, in simple terms, if we say what is actually happening in the economy, see, there is a production of the goods and service, okay, and the effective demand have declined. Take the example of the XYZ company whose production is there. Take the example of the Reebok. Okay, the Reebok company is producing shoes and selling it at rupees 1000. But the demand has declined. Demand has declined, so what the company will do? The company will reduce its price from 1000 to 800 rupees. But again, there is a sentiment of pessimism in the economy or market. The people's demand is not increasing because the people is also not having the money to buy. So again, the price level will decline from 800 to 600. So what is this situation? You are finding that the price level of an individual commodity is declining. Same way, it happens to the other also. So a sentiment of pessimism is developed in the economy, and as a result of that, the effective demand decreases. And the effective demand when decreases, as a result of that, we find there is actually the decrease in the general price level. Now we will focus on the causes of the deflation. What are the causes of deflation? First one over there is the contractionary monetary policy. Contractionary monetary policy, if you remember, we have studied the measures to control inflation. What are the measures the government take? The government normally makes the loan costly. Okay, why so? Just the people should have the lesser loan so that they should spend the less money. So what we are finding here, when the contractionary monetary policy is adopted, as a result of that, the loan becomes costly. The rate of interest are increased. When the rate of interest increase, as a result of that, the loan becomes costly. And when the loan becomes costly, the people normally take lesser loan, because at the higher rate of interest, the people not normally take the more loan. Only those people who are having the urgent needs, they will take at higher rate of interest. But a person who is actually getting the loan at a higher rate of interest, he will not take it deliberately. Okay, so when the contractionary monetary policy is adopted, as a result of that, the loans becomes costly, the interest rate is increased, and as a result, the loans taken by the people are normally decline. The rate of loans taken by the people normally decline. The second one is their reduction in the government expenditure. Government expenditure, or to which we can say the public expenditure. If you will remember, one of the measure which is taken by the government is the reduction in the public expenditure to control the inflation. So here again, what is happening? When the public expenditures are reduced, as a result, we are finding the unemployment level will increase, because with the public expenditure, the certain level of employment also generated. But if the public expenditure, the government expenditures are reduced, it will again have the effect on the employment. And when the people will have the less employment or unemployment is developed, again their purchasing power will decline and their effective demand will decrease, or their demand will decrease. Again, the next one is their heavy taxes. When the tax rates are increased or the more taxes are levied, as a result, the disposable income of the individual for the consumption also reduced, and it has its effect on their demand pattern. The next one is their increasing economic inequalities. When the income inequalities develop in the economy, the rich become more rich and the poor become more poor. And the poor become more poor. And see what happens, the marginal propensity to consume of the rich people is normally less, but the poor people's marginal propensity to consume is more. But since the poor become more poor, somehow it has the effect on their demand pattern. The next one is their public borrowing or public debts. when the government is resorting to borrow the money from the public. Again, the money is transferred from the people to the government. Now, the people will have the less money, and it will have the effect on their demand pattern. So public borrowing, increased public borrowing also causes basically the lesser demand of the individual, because the money is diverting from the individual to the government. Now the next one is there psychological factors. See, during inflation, during the period of boom, what we find, there is a sentiment of optimism in the economy. As a result, what is there? Private investment increase. When the private investment is increasing, as a result, the more and more business activities are performed. But it has one effect. When there is a sentiment of business, what's effect is seen. See, as a result that there is actually the increase in the prices of the raw material, there is an increase in the prices of the labor cost. How? Because now there are more business for demanding the same resources. So as a result of the optimism, and as a result of the more investment, private investment in fact, there is actually the more demand of the factors of production, and as a result these factors of production's price level increase. So it has the effect on what? It has the effect on the cost of production, and later on this effect on the cost of production actually decreases the sentiments of the people. It has this adverse effect on the psychology of the individual, and the people normally withdraws the money from the business, and they prefer to keep it as safe rather than investing in the business. Again, what is developing here? Because of this, again the unemployment level is developing, because the money is withdrawn from the business institutions are closed down, the unemployment level is prevailing, and as a result of that, what is the result? The people, when the people will become unemployed, it will have the effect on his consumption demand. So this is the psychological factors of optimism as well as pessimism. Both these have the effect on actually one of the cause of deflation. Now increase in the production. The production is more, production has developed, okay, the production is increasing, and because of the increase in the production, there is not the effective demand for the goods and services. Increased production is piled up, but there is not the effective demand of the goods and service. As a result, again there is a decrease in the general price level. So what we had studied in this particular session, we had studied the deflation's definition as well as the causes. And if we will summarize this, what is deflation? Deflation is the phenomena of decrease in the general price level. Why so it's happening? It's happening because of effective demand is also declining. Why so the effective demand is declining? This is declining because of the purchasing power of the individual is also decreased. Why so the purchasing power of the individual is decreasing? Because the money supply to a certain extent is reduced in the economy. And what is the cause of the reduced money supply? What are the causes of the reduced money supply? One is the contractionary monetary policy, reduction in the public expenditures, the heavy taxes imposed by the government. All this have the effect. What is there? See, if you will remember, in the case of inflation, the value of money declines, but in the deflation, the value of money increases, but the price level declines here. Okay, चलिए आज के लिए इतना ही. Thank you.